Hello and welcome to episode 142 of Sutton Impact Family Style. I'm Jason.
I'm Bill. Wow, what a week it's been in sports.
Very much so.
I think my biggest shocker was Kansas State beating Oklahoma. I knew Oklahoma's defense was going to be weak, but wow, that was a lot of points.
Dropped 50 on them.
Yeah, pretty amazing. And then, controversial ending on the onside kick. But that was big. That was big. I didn't see that one coming.
No. I would say, even though I picked them in the pool, I did not see San Francisco destroying Carolina.
I did not either. But the biggest shocker of the whole week, you ready for this?
Yeah?
Paul Feinbaum was asked if ESPN Game Day should go to Tuscaloosa for the Alabama-LSU game, or if it should go to Minnesota for the Penn State-Minnesota game. And he said, go to Minnesota.
Really?
But his rationale was pretty good. He goes, Game Day's been in Tuscaloosa so many times, it's not special.
I agree with that.
And if you go to Minnesota and Penn State and Minnesota are both undefeated, that would be a really good show because the Minnesota people haven't had anything like that to cheer about for years.
No, I think, it would be cool to see a different fan base, a different stadium. Like you said, we get to watch so much Alabama. We've been there, done that a million times. So, yeah, I like it.
Well,
see the difference.
I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah.
I just saw the announcement of who's inactive for the Steelers.
Yeah.
And Jalen Samuels is the only one that I'm a little bummed out about.
It's true.
I was hoping he'd be back.
Well, I think the Steelers got to the point in the season, though, where they have to let Mason Rudolph play and really play. He threw deep in college. They got to start throwing the ball down the field. They got to open it up. They got to stop doing these trick plays and everything else with Jalen. I think it's cute they're doing that. It worked in one game. But I think they got to unleash him, see what he can do. See what these young receivers can do so you can really assess for next year because that's where you're at right now.
Yeah.
And I know Tomlin and this organization doesn't want to lose games and they want to, they figure if they can grind it out, play good defense, they can get a couple of wins. But they're not a Super Bowl contender. They're, just because the AFC is bad, I guess they're still technically a playoff contender. But I think this should be a time to assess the guys you got and see what you can do and then know what you got to do in the offseason, more so than, trying to grind out wins and play as conservative as possible. Because I don't think that's really doing you any good long term.
No, I don't either. You got to take the training wheels off and play.
And we saw it in the preseason. They went downfield a lot. When the Dolphins are, if you're ever going to do it, this is probably the time to do it.
Agree. And, this Bengals-Dolphins game is shaping up to be a big game in December.
It is. And if you're the Dolphins or the Bengals, does a win really, a win doesn't help you as an organization, but you obviously don't want to go down in history as a defeated team, not undefeated, as a completely defeated team either.
No, but if I've lost all these games and I need to lose a couple more, I'll go ahead and lose them.
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Atlanta's got one win.
Washington has a win.
You see that?
Yeah.
Washington has one win.
The Bengals have zero.
So there's some teams in here battling it out.
And there's a lot of 2-win teams too.
Yeah. A lot of 2-win teams.
Including the Browns. Did you watch any of that Browns game and watch the Browns turn the ball over on 3 consecutive plays?
I did. He's going to be, if he doesn't get fired first, it's a question who's going to get fired first, him or Atlanta's coach.
Yeah.
One of the two. Those are the two guys on the hot seat. And they got so much criticism of Freddie Kitchens today on the media about not being prepared. He was Baker's guy. Baker hasn't developed. They lead the NFL in penalties, even though they played one less game than a lot of other teams.
It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. It's bad.
It's really bad. And then you add into the fact that, they seemingly had it looked like the defense was going to be a solid defense going into the season. They look like they've regressed. And even though your offensive line is sort of bad, you've got to get the ball out of his hand quicker. And I don't understand how you have OBJ, Landry, Caldwell, all these play. It seems like they have far too much talent to be as inept as they are. So,
Yeah,
and you seem to be ruining Baker Mayfield in the process. So you wasted all of his time to all these picks, all these passing on other guys to go get, and you're kind of ruining his career on some level.
strange.
Yeah,
On the good note, everybody I wanted fired at the Pirates has been fired,
except the owner,
except for the owner.
but you can't fire him. So
Can't fire the owner. But hey, I don't know. I mean, I don't expect anything magical, but we'll see.
yeah, it's. I mean, they've just been out for so long. Like it'd be nice to just give them like some hope moving forward. You know,
Yeah,
turn that franchise in the right direction, get the city excited again. Because it's like we've said before on the podcast, like if you put a product out, most teams will be supported in their city for the most part, especially sports towns like Pittsburgh. But you got to give them something. You got to invest on their end before so they can see it too that you care, that you're trying. Patriots continue to look phenomenal, and I just
although I'm not impressed with their offense right now at all.
no, but
And so if they get in a shootout with Green Bay, Kansas City, Baltimore,
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see. They're going to take away the quarterback this week for the Ravens. That's going to be the game plan. We know that. So it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out. But that's got to be the game plan.
yeah, that's the game I'm most
One game.
That's the marquee matchup
That's a good game. There's no question about it.
because this is probably
World Series.
the best team they're going to get to play this year so far, by far. The Patriots.
So far, but they play Green Bay. I'm not sure where they play Green Bay.
No, the Patriots haven't played anybody.
No. Neither are the Ravens. So it'll be interesting to see.
Well, the Ravens went up and beat Seattle in Seattle, which I think was still pretty impressive.
That is impressive.
Yeah.
I've been very impressed with the 49ers, but I hear people arguing they haven't played anybody. But hey,
I think
they're undefeated.
Yeah.
The defense is really good.
I think Carolina was somebody, and then I think this week we saw when you got Debo Samuel and Emmanuel Sanders back in there with George Kittle. Now that offense looks a little tighter, looks a little more explosive. I think
Yeah.
it's a scarier team, and Breda's and all their running backs are so fast, and both
Yeah.
is an absolute beast.
Who's the guy that had 4 touchdowns?
Tevin Coleman, the former Falcon.
Yeah. And he looks like he can go the distance on any given play.
Any given play, they look legit.
Yeah.
And they've got a nice big league. I think they're going to be able to slide right in and be just fine for the rest of the season.
So continuing with our theme of surprises, how about Michigan pounding Notre Dame?
Yeah.
And how about the fact that no home team has won a World Series game yet?
I really thought that it looked like they were a team of destiny. Obviously, I'm speaking of Nationals. Yeah, it seemed when they knocked Garrett Cole around that first game and just came out smoking. I was like, whoa, this is,
Yeah, well, they didn't knock him around last night.
far from it. And now,
But Verlander still has never won a World Series game.
he's got a shot though.
He's got a shot, so we'll see what he does tomorrow night. That's another good matchup, Strasburg and Verlander again. So we'll have to see.
Very much.
It's been an amazing week. How about my Timberwolves being 3-0?
It's a little shocking, but yeah, it's great.
Karl Anthony Towns looks like a beast.
He's finally looked like a guy.
He looks better than
He looks good. He looks really, really good.
He's hitting threes. He's dunking. I mean, he looks really, really good. I've been impressed. My Suns are 2-1, and that's with Ed Drayton out for 25 games.
Yeah, and they just beat the Clippers, which
they beat the Clippers, and Oklahoma City pounded the Warriors.
Yeah, that was embarrassing for the Warriors. Look real bad.
So my favorite thing on the NBA to watch now is a post game conference with Draymond Green.
Yeah, he's always been good.
It's absolutely my favorite thing to watch. There's no filter on Draymond Green.
Well, I mean, right now he's completely right. They do suck. Like, there's no other way to. I mean, they look as bad as you can possibly look.
In fact, they are 13th out of 15 teams in the West right now.
Yeah.
Your poor Pelicans are 0-3.
Well, they are. They've been in a lot of games, and obviously, the big factor.
They've been in all the games.
No Zion. You know. I haven't got to watch too much NBA. I watched Houston play twice already. I saw them lose.
Yeah, they don't look good.
Not so far.
There's going to be a lot of adjustment there.
A lot of adjustment. I think Harden is working really hard to adjust, which I've been impressed with. I feel like he's, deferring a little bit more, but I think one knock on both Russ and Harden their entire careers is that when they're not involved in the play, they don't really help out. They say they make it like 4-on-5. Like they use it like, okay, it's James Harden's turn. I'm going to take the play off. And James Harden notoriously, Chris Paul. I mean, I think that's why Chris Paul didn't work either. Is that when James Harden was like, okay, it's your turn, Chris Paul, you do it, and it would just sort of fade away and would just hang out 6 feet behind a 3-point line and not really try. And I mean,
crazy.
What makes them deadly is if both those guys are involved in moving around, and I don't know if either one of those guys. I mean, they're both 30. I don't know when they're going to, if you can expect a change on them,
I don't know. It's been the craziest week for sports that I've seen for a while. I mean, a lot of upsets, a lot of fun, entertaining games, a lot of surprises. It's been a really fun week. I'm looking forward to Ohio State playing Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'll be awesome. I'm looking forward to seeing that game. I'm looking forward to Alabama LSU. I don't know. Wide open now as to who gets in because Oklahoma's not going to get in with one loss, especially a loss to Kansas State, which is a shame, but that's how it's going to work out. I mean, it'll be a 2-loss. I mean, a 1-loss team from the SEC now will get in for sure. And possibly a 1-loss team from the Big Ten could get in.
Quite possible.
And you could have 2 conferences with 4 spots.
Yeah. Well, we knew Oklahoma.
But I don't see
No.
Clemson won't stub its toe, so, I mean, they're going to be in. So it's going to be interesting battling out for that 4th spot.
But I think, as we said from the beginning, if LSU can run the table outside of Alabama, I think if the Alabama-LSU game is close, I think both those teams get in, and it's not even a question,
Yeah, I think that history will show that will happen.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, if they both end up, one is undefeated, the other one's 1 loss, and the 1 loss is to the undefeated team, and it was a reasonably close game, we're definitely they're both getting in. That's the way the BCS has always been, and I don't see that changing at all.
For sure. Well, we promised we were going to do our NBA picks this week.
Yes, we did.
So here's what I'm going to say. Since we're going out on a limb here, I'm willing to give my 16 teams in the playoffs.
Okay.
And then I think maybe we'll wait till January, and then we'll pick our how we see the teams advancing. It's just too early right now.
It is very early, yeah.
And I mean, but I think we can speculate as to who our 8 teams are going to be. So I'll do my West teams first, and you can do your East teams first.
Okay.
So here's my 8 right. In no particular order because I put them in order. Denver, the Clippers, the Blazers, the Lakers, the Jazz, Dallas, and Houston.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I still have 1 more to go.
Did you put the Mavs? You put the Mavs? You said Dallas, right?
You put the Mavs.
Okay.
I'm debating between the Spurs and the Pelicans. I'm going to go with the Pelicans because I think when Zion gets back, they're going to be a decent team. So they're going to be my last of my 8. I'm going to predict Golden State's not in.
Sadly, if we had done this last week, I would have picked Golden State to be like my 4th seed. I really thought they were going to have like a sort of an FU season where Steph and
Yeah.
Draymond were just going to be like, we're the best players on this team. We're fine. We're going to show you all we didn't need Kevin Durant. We don't even need Clay. We can go and ball out. And that they were well coached and they were just going to, and D. Will was going to be at least slightly useful, or D. Russell, I'm sorry, but they look real, real bad.
Yeah, and I think they miss Andre Iguodala
They
too.
do. They miss everybody.
He was just one of those kind of guys that was like glue.
I don't know how you can pick against this, but the Spurs are just so good.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said in January we might want to revisit it, but that's my 8 as of now.
Yeah, I can't argue with any of those. I mean, I think Oklahoma City is a sneaky good team. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with Chris Paul, but I know they're 1 and 2, but they have a lot of really good NBA players on that team, and I
They
think they
do.
could.
And in January I might, but right now I just don't. I don't see
Okay.
it. But I really like Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas.
I like Dallas.
I feel like they're still a player away from being a legit contender, and then we have to see if Porzingis can actually stay healthy.
I like Doncic and Porzingis playing together.
Yeah, Luka's just so much fun to watch.
I love the style of basketball that they play together. I've loved what I've seen so far.
Agreed.
Give me your East.
Well, the easy one is the Sixers. I feel like they're a lock.
Yeah.
I think the Celtics are a lock too. I mean, I think they still need to do something to address the 5, but I think they just have too much talent and too good of a coach. And then it gets kind of tricky because these teams. I mean, obviously the Bucks. Those would be my top. Those would be the 3 that I feel like they're in no matter what. And then after that, I got to go Miami Heat because Jimmy Butler's a dog, and I think they've got a lot of players on the team that are they're going to be a scrappy team. Somebody you don't want to play. And then after that, it gets weird. I think the Magic get in.
I agree with you. I agree the Magic get in.
I think the Baby Hawks. I think they're a little ahead of schedule. I think they're going to sneak in because again, it's a weak conference. It's 6, and then this is where it gets weird. Initially I probably would put. I thought the Pacers were going to be better, and we still don't know, who's coming back and when they're coming back and everything else. So I think Toronto was still a good team.
Yeah, I've got Toronto in my top 8.
And I think the Nets are going to. I think the Nets are going to be the 8th seed. I think they're going to sneak in with Kyrie. I think he's too. I think that.
Kyrie looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Kyrie's playing like he's got something to prove.
Yeah, and I think he does. I think he's got a lot of proof.
All right, let's give.
Yeah, I don't see.
Let's give our audience something
Okay.
else. The 2 worst teams in the NBA.
Well, I mean, the Knicks, sadly.
I was waiting for that. That's why I asked the question.
They're just, as a Knicks fan, like when you think about where they were last spring, right? They might get Kevin Durant,
Mm-hmm.
They might get KD, and there was a really good chance they were going to get Zion in the draft. And then all of a sudden, the Knicks are one of the best teams in the East.
Yep.
And now you're looking at RJ Barrett and 11 power forwards, and it's right back to where it was. And you saw the big rumor, right?
Yeah.
That the overpaid Jordan was a Knick, right? And he's obviously great friends with KD, and he's great friends with Kyrie. And he got like a 6-month stay with the Knicks. And basically, from what I've heard, is that he was like, we don't want to go to this organization. It's a mess. And they went to the Nets. Now, I know the Nets are run and the Nets have business and they have, better business connections in China and all over the world and things along those lines to add to it. But I think the pull of Madison Square Garden, if it had been a positive experience for DeAndre Jordan, maybe they get there. But so close to, KD, Kyrie, Zion. I mean, that was seemed like a realistic possibility. And now they look like a lottery team. again.
All right, and I'll add my worst team
Okay.
for you. Why they're always bad, I don't know, but Sacramento.
They looked like a fringe playoff team going into the offseason.
I know.
And they look,
I don't
I
know what it
know.
is.
I mean, they even
I
signed
mean,
Buddy Hield.
I wasn't going to
What's that?
go Memphis for my worst in the West, but they're actually looking decent.
Yeah. I like their young players. And it's hard to count out the Hornets. I know they won a game, but I don't know what they are, what they're good at. They look kind of bad to me.
No, they're not good. They're definitely in the mix for what we set out here.
Do you have an MVP pick early in the season?
I do. Doncic.
Oh wow, that would be interesting if they would win.
Yeah, I do. I just think that his year this year is going to be significantly better than his first year, and I think he's going to be really on the national stage. I mean, he looks confident. He looks more muscular. He's got a little bit of people to play off of now. I think, again, depending on where that team goes. I mean, it's a lot easier to say Kyrie could be the MVP from the Clippers, but I'm going to go on a limb and say right now, I like Doncic.
It's a very interesting pick. Before the season started,
You?
I don't agree that James Harden should have won the MVP, but I do agree that it's a lot about narrative. And I think Harden and Russ are off the table because they both won and they haven't proved they can win in the playoffs, so they were done. I think the Greek Freak got his, and I don't think they were going to give him back to back unless he just had. I mean, it's hard to have a better season than he had last year. And then I think you go down the list, and my initial pick was Steph because I thought Steph was going to come out and just blow people away. I thought he was going to have ridiculous, plus minus. I thought he was going to put up, I don't know, 35 a game, incredible PER. I just thought that was going to be the Steph thing, but clearly it wasn't. And then you got on the list like LeBron and AD. Both those guys, but they're probably splitting votes. So I could very easily see Doncic being the guy. And I would love that because, like I said, I love watching that dude play basketball. He's so much fun as long as Porzingis can stay healthy. And again, I don't know where the other player would come from because I don't think anybody's really available. But yeah. But I do feel like Doncic is a really interesting pick given right now. And I guess, as you mentioned, the guy balling out right now, I think Cat is an interesting pick, If they can make themselves, I don't know, let's say, how high a seed do they got to be at least a top 4 seed for Cat to win, I would think, right?
Yeah, and I didn't pick him in my top eight. I didn't pick him in my top
I think
eight.
the West is just too tough.
I think the West is just too tough. I think if it was playing the East, I would pick them to get in.
I don't pick them in the West.
But I don't pick them in the West.
But I'd love to see it.
But I'd love to see it because I like
it's a great story. Especially because, I was starting to feel like we had heard so much promise about Cat for years, and I feel like he was getting to that point where it's like, if he's not going to do it now, maybe this is who he is, Maybe he's a good stats, bad team kind of guy. Like maybe he doesn't have that fire in him, but it seems like whatever reason he's got it this year, and it's awesome to see.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I just like the way he's playing now. I like. He seems confident. He seems comfortable. I mean, they're definitely running everything through him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's his team. There's no question about it now. And, I think he can be comfortable as a leader. I think that other players will defer to him. So I think all those things are good.
And then I think another big man we can't leave out of the conversation, obviously, is Joel Embiid.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's as good as he wants to be when you stay healthy.
Well, he looks thinner this year. He looks like he's cut down on whatever he was eating that was making him less than thin. So,
yeah,
not to body shame him by any stretch, but as an NBA player, you feel like there's got to be at least some, some commitment to staying healthy, I guess is what we're saying.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting to me.
Yeah.
He's a good player. I want to see how much they're going to miss Jimmy Butler because he was the attitude for that team.
Well, I think having a veteran like Horford, I think really helps.
I like the move for Horford, which I think is a really, really strong move.
And Josh Richardson, the guy they got from Miami last year, or he got this year, I think is a really strong move too. I think he's a very versatile 3-and-D, step up, can play. Doesn't need to be the focal point, but can step up when he needs to.
Yeah.
I think he's a great defender. I think that was a really nice pickup too. I'm not sure how deep they are. And their shooting is still lacking on the outside. Because I think Harris and Richardson are both fine shooters, but they're not like
JJ Redick.
They're not JJ Redick, no.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't have a food moment this week. I don't know if you did.
Did I have a food moment? Yeah, I kind of had a food moment. I was in Gatlinburg. My food moment is not food, though.
Okay.
My food moment is a drink.
That counts. It's a consumable.
Okay. So for the first time ever, I drank mead.
Oh, from honey.
M-E-A-D.
Yeah.
So mead was very interesting. I went to this, in Gatlinburg, there's a Savannah Bee Company, or Savannah Honey Company, and they have a mead shop there. And so I got a flight, 6 different shots of mead. And I was impressed. I really liked it. You taste the honey. I thought it was good. It was just, but it kind of like, Robin Hood, Henry VIII, they all drank mead, so I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very cool.
And then I had a little Conte burger that I posted a picture of at Trish's Mountain Diner. And so it was a burger, barbecue beef, and grilled pork belly.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I wouldn't go out of my way. I mean, it was their special, so I thought I would try it.
Sure.
It was interesting. And then the best consumable I had was the donut fryer. A really good donut shop.
Nice.
But, I stayed in this amazing, amazing luxury cabin. And I can't tell you how amazing it was. I mean, it was one of the most amazing places I've ever stayed in my life. And it was on top of the mountain. And like we had a deck up top that wasn't covered. We had a deck below that was covered. And had a fire pit and hot tub. Then we had our home theater. We had shuffleboard. We had pool. We had foosball. Everybody had their own master bedroom suite. It was pretty amazing.
Sounds really nice.
Yeah. Except it's like taking your life in your hands every time you drove up the top of the mountain because all the air pit turns and everything.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. I've got 3 movies that I want to see in the next couple weeks.
Okay.
I want to see Dr. Sleep.
Of course.
I'm actually trying to get, they have a special sneak on the 30th. And I've been trying to get tickets for that, but I guess I'm not the right member of Fandango to get that. But I'd like to do that, and I want to see The Irishman, which we talked about. And I want to see Motherless Brooklyn, which I saw it in for extended preview now. And now, I don't, it looks, Ed Norton plays a real interesting role.
Yes.
So, I mean, I'll have to see on that. But those are 3 I really want to see.
Well, I watched a pretty good movie.
Okay, what did you watch?
I watched Eli on Netflix. Eli. It's in the, I guess in the ghost horror genre, but it's definitely like, I don't want to talk too much about it because it feels like a very common, like it feels like you've kind of seen it before, but it's got a really cool, I don't know if twist is the right word, but it's an interesting take on a genre that you're not used to. And I was really impressed because I feel like I watch a lot of horror, obviously, and scary movies.
Yep.
And it's rare that I see people do what's been done really well, but it's rare that you see something, let alone a Netflix original film, that does something I haven't seen before. And this just turns like a common genre on its head enough that you're like, oh, that's it. It was very interesting. It made it from probably like a C plus B minus movie. It bumped it up a couple of grades from where it went. And I understand why they couldn't have done that earlier in the film, but it was really cool. Like I enjoyed that part.
Have you seen Evil?
I have not.
Okay, here's what I'm going to tell you. I'm not recording it. It's not something if I'm missing, I want to see it.
Yeah.
But every time I watch it, I find it very intriguing.
Okay.
You know what the premise is?
I do.
Well, that's why it works, because you see something and, there's this, you get both sides of the issue. It's never, oh my God, that's a possession. It's, here's why it's not a possession, and here's why it is possession.
Yeah.
So you get to make your own decision. And I find that very interesting. And so whenever it's on, I'll turn it on, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, my friend actually works on that show, and I've heard it's sort of like it's got a little bit of the X-Files quality where you have your Mulder and Scully, like I believe, I don't believe, kind of going back and forth. Right. And I think with a lot of shows that come out on, network television, a lot of people were like, this would be amazing if it was on, another network. But
where do they film that?
What's that?
Where do they film that?
That's in New York City.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a New York City production.
Yeah, like I said, I've been impressed with it. The video and the storylines and the acting and the characters. I mean, it's been pretty interesting.
And I'm fairly certain if I read the trades correctly, it's already been renewed for season 2. So
it's just one of those things that you can't. You're mesmerized. It's a good story, but you know how you feel about it. That's what I'd say.
Well, I hope they continue with what the X-Files did pretty well, but Criminal Minds failed at. And that's stay with the show and less about, because Criminal Minds became all about the people working the cases. And I feel like that wasn't why people were watching the show, is another sort of network show like that. There was sort of an interesting look at, the people that they were, it was like a dumbed down Mindhunter where they were going after, serial killers and different sort of crazy people. And then I noticed they have it on Netflix now and it's like a good background show. But it seems like all of a sudden it all became about their personal lives and who they were dating. It was just like, it's not the show. The thing that makes your show good is stick to what you do. So hopefully Evil doesn't go, just stick with the other part.
Hey, we didn't have our business moment yet. Let's close with our business moment.
Okay.
So Major League Baseball has decided that it wants to contract the minor leagues and probably eliminate the 40 lowest level teams in baseball.
Oh.
And they made a very convincing argument. One, they don't need that many players. They don't need that many players to develop. So they don't need that many teams, right?
Right.
Then they make the case that they want all of their players to have a real positive experience in minor leagues. And the facilities are for some teams, are pretty bad at the bottom level.
Yeah.
I mean, like they had pictures in Sport Business Journal today of like one locker room that was like, it didn't have enough lockers, so players would have to put their stuff in a sink.
Huh.
And they had a shower that I wouldn't get in for love nor money. And then they had like a workout area. Imagine like if you seem like a storage shed, right?
Yeah.
Okay, imagine a room that looked like a storage shed. They had all kind of shit in it, plus they had exercise equipment.
Oh.
I mean, so the pictures were very, very non-flattering. And they do pay the salaries of all the players. So every minor league player is paid by the parent club.
Oh, okay.
So what I think will happen is that this will happen. And I don't disagree that it needs to happen. You want a better experience for everybody, you want better quality, so you'd have better quality.
Right.
But then all those 40 teams, they've got facilities and they got everything else, so you're going to want to have something. So you're probably going to see some more independent league teams where the players aren't under contract with a team, but they'll probably still get scouted. But it's be run by somebody else, and then somebody else will get to pay them. So that's my on and off on this one.
Yeah.
But it's very interesting to me that this has come about. And, Major League Baseball does have a big investment in this. And I guess they're looking to cut costs. And if they cut, a couple teams, a team or a team and a half for every franchise, that would save significant money.
It would.
But it would also let them take that money then and be able to pay the other players who are suing a workable wage.
Which would be fantastic.
Some of these players get paid for 5 months, and they get paid like minimum wage for 5 months.
Yeah, that's no good.
That's no good. So they do need to step up there and see what they can do. So follow that story. I think that's going to be an interesting story.
And obviously, they're doing a lot more. They have a lot more international players and everything else now too, where they, an investment overseas.
Yeah, academies. Some teams have academies in the Caribbean and everything, so developing players there. So there's a lot of ways. It just, it hasn't changed. Minor league baseball hasn't changed in 50 years. So it's normal that you're going to have some attrition. You're going to have some things that you need to change and evolve and make things better. So hopefully that'll happen.
Agreed. I think it sounds like a good investment on their part, or lack of. Well, hopefully the Steelers win tonight, and it's a fun game.
Hopefully so. I'm excited about it.
Yeah. And we'll join you next week, and we'll have, obviously, lots of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we'll see how the World Series turns out. So I'm excited about seeing how it turns out.
So until next week.